Hey folks, I'm JC from One Shot Adventures, and today I'm going to plunge into the gritty streets of Gotham City's past, diving into the 1930s noir adventure, Gotham 39, The Mirror Eternal, a free adventure that you can get at oneshotadventures.com with versions available for the new Batman Gotham City Chronicles RPG, which I'm going to review soon, Pulp, Call of Cthulhu, and GURPS. While Gotham 39 is set in Batman's favorite city, the PCs aren't superheroes. They're ordinary citizens pulled into a hard-boiled mystery. Here your players must navigate a web of organized crime, corrupt cops, 19th century stage magic, and an intriguing new villain who might, just might, have discovered something otherworldly. It's noir, it's pulp, and it's a sandbox that features dozens of personalities, locations, secrets, and surprises. Intrigued? Well, today I'm going to give you a full overview of this adventure, along with tips and tricks for GMs interested in running it. And at the end of this video, we'll be joined by special guest and ultimate Bat fan Saffron, who will walk you through some of the comic book Easter eggs hidden in this adventure.
Standing by with the Bat computer.
But I must warn you that there are spoilers ahead, so if you're thinking about playing in this adventure, why don't you drive on over to Arkham Asylum and let your GM know about this video instead. Alright, let's head out into the night and explore the mysteries of Gotham 39. Gotham 39 is designed for 3 to 5 players, and it includes everything you need, including pre-generated characters, each with their own motivations and dark secrets, and lots of handouts and maps to make it easy for GMs to bring this adventure to their table. I can usually run this adventure in a single session. I just did it at Gen Con, in fact, running it in 4 hours. But because it's an investigation, I'll give you my standard warning. This adventure moves at your player's pace. If your players love to roleplay and run down every possible lead, it could take 2 or 3 sessions to complete. The adventure begins with the PCs, a ragtag group of strangers, ordinary folks who have only one thing in common. They each know something about the occult. There's an old stage magician, a skeptical detective who busts occult hoaxes, an ex-con who claims to have been a ghost at one point, that sort of thing. These are all fun, strong player characters that your players will enjoy playing. They've all been mysteriously invited to a late show at the Blue Orchid nightclub, a once glitzy but now seedy nightclub that sometimes hosts some dangerous fellows. Tonight, there's Santo Casamento in attendance, a notorious and often said to be superstitious mob boss. As the PCs sit down and are served drinks, they're surprised to find little notes in their cocktail shakers. Each note is a blackmail note, saying that if they aren't at a certain warehouse in a few hours, their dark secrets will be revealed to the world. But before they can even think about this, the evening is interrupted with violence. A man in a yellow trench coat gets on stage with a Tommy gun and guns down Santo Casamento. Hey Santo, didn't you hear that 2 things don't last long in the world? A pretty girl on your lap and a rat at the top. And the PCs have to leap into action. And after the fray, they'll see something horrifying. Santo Casamento's blood is oily, reflective like mercury, and smells like scorched steel and raw ozone. This is the first hint that something unnatural is afoot. And in his pocket is a shard of glass with a phone number on it and the name Vayne scratched into it. And this kicks off the adventure in a truly open-ended way. This is the start of a sandbox investigation across Gotham City. Do the players investigate Yellow Funzy, learning where he planned the hit and who else was involved? Do they question the crowd or the corrupt cops that are there and learn who Casamento's enemies might have been, which include the Green Street Boys, a violent up-and-coming Irish gang? Or do they research who Vayne is, the name on that little piece of glass? Or do they head out right away to investigate that warehouse that they're being blackmailed to go visit? As you can see, there are a lot of leads to follow, and that's what makes this adventure fun. From the very start, the players can set out in multiple directions, and each will lead them closer to the villain of this adventure. So what is going on here? Well, let's go back in time and I'll explain the mystery behind the adventure. The adventure takes place in 1939, but its roots stretch back to 1891. That's when the famed stage magician Karl Vayne wowed Gotham audiences with his summoning of a Babylonian demon named Ishtar-Hul through a mirror on stage. The demon would appear and grant wishes to the audience. The twist? Well, this was all an illusion. It was a stage assistant in a gruesome mask, trapdoors, smoke pellets, pure showmanship. But it really impressed people. It was the talk of the town. Fast forward to 1905, after Vayne's death, an occult springs up, claiming Ishtar-Hul was real. Naturally, this is all nonsense, and the cult eventually faded away. But then in 1937, a Hungarian immigrant named Viktor Varadi got obsessed. He devoured everything about Vayne and this cult and Ishtar-Hul. He even bought Vayne's old stage mirror and had it restored at his workplace, Gotham Glass. Desperate to recreate the summoning and get power and wishes, he corresponded with occult experts in Europe and, shockingly, he received elements of a real occult ritual. But it wasn't the one Victor was expecting. Now, Victor still doesn't realize that Ishtar-Hul was all imaginary. He thinks this ritual that he discovered will really summon this Babylonian demon and give him wishes. The ritual that he was sent instructs him to have 3 men willingly slice their hands open with centuries-old church glass, poisoning their blood, turning it into a viscous metallic liquid. And then, upon the deaths of those 3 men, something will be summoned into Gotham. He thinks it's Ishtar-Hul, but it's not. This ritual will summon an unearthly artifact that has the power to turn men to glass and level most of the city. Time to go to work. A couple years later, in 1939, Victor, now calling himself the Ebony Veil, very dramatic, contacts Gotham's crime families, tempting them with promises of power. He feels less guilty about getting criminals killed. Most people ignore him, but the superstitious Santo Casamento, a powerful mob boss, takes the bait. He gathers his mob friends for Ebony Veil's ritual. So one rainy night, 5 men gather in a burned-out warehouse. And these 5 men are the key to this adventure because they all completed the ritual of cutting their hands open. They include Santo Casamento, Renzo Beretti, another mob boss who's friends with Santo, Patty Banfield, the brand new leader of the Green Street Boys gang, Herman Manstein, a vicious and mostly crazy German smuggler, and Augustus Van Dorn, a desperate business tycoon. At the warehouse, Ebony Veil does a huge show. He's erected a big idol to Ishtar-Hul, and he gives the men something that looks like a real ceremony. This convinces the men to slice their hands open with old church glass, completing the first part of the ritual. Of course, nothing happens and the mob bosses leave annoyed. They think the whole thing was a prank. They have no idea that their blood is actually poisoned and their deaths will seal this terrifying curse. Victor, the Ebony Veil, is ecstatic and starts planning their murders, hiring a friend of his, Yellow Funzy, to gun down Santo Casamento at the Blue Orchid, thus kicking off this adventure for the players.
Hey, while you're talking about me, I just want to take a moment and encourage each and every one of you to like and subscribe. Otherwise, Yellow Funzy might be paying you a visit, and there won't be no fun in my name, you get me?
But soon after that ceremony, Batman discovers the ritual site at the warehouse. He's new to being Batman, and he doesn't have much knowledge on the occult. He doesn't know if this whole thing is real and has danger behind it, or is just fake. So he decides to bring experts in, the PCs. He invites them to the Blue Orchid to gather them together, and then has blackmail notes delivered to them to push them towards the warehouse so that they can investigate the ritual. And he plans on watching them in secret to see what they discover.
Yeah, I did blackmail them, but in Gotham City, blackmail's just Tuesday with better stationery.
So back to the adventure. Santo Casamento's murder is the first of the 3 deaths needed to complete Ebony Veil's ritual. Like I said before, the players can head out in many directions, and they'll all lead towards Ebony Vale. But along the way, the deaths of more members of that original ritual will lead Gotham closer to doom. Now, most players hit the warehouse early on, the one they're blackmailed to go visit. And here, the PCs will find the remnants of Ebony Vale's ritual. But as occult experts, they'll find problems with it. It's inauthentic in so many ways. The result of Ebony Vale just making stuff up to get the gangsters to cut their hands. They'll also find a firebomb set to destroy the place, a bomb that has the fingerprints of Renzo Beretti's crime family all over it. This guy who was there at the warehouse, he has got a history with this warehouse, and he's annoyed about the ritual, so he paid someone off to destroy it for good. And as the PCs investigate the warehouse and follow the various leads, they'll soon figure out the identities of those 5 men who were involved and the mysterious Ebony Vale behind it all. If your players haven't played an open-ended sandbox before, I really like to remind them at the beginning of the session that they will find lots of clues and they won't be able to track them all down, nor do they need to. Sometimes players new to investigations can become overwhelmed by choice and open-endedness, but just reassure them that there's no real wrong choices here and just to jot down some notes as they play. But I also intentionally included a lot of handouts in this adventure, so as the players play and find clues, they'll just discover that everything they need to know is sort of out on the table in front of them at all times. All of the ritual participants are dangerous, and as the PCs interact with the men, their actions will likely lead to the second death of one of the participants. This is likely to either be Paddy Banfield, the leader of that Irish gang, the Green Street Boys. He's got an incredibly bad temper and an undiagnosed brain aneurysm. He and his crew hang out at a dirty old boxing gym, Green Glove Boxing. And one time, when I ran this adventure, one of my players challenged Paddy Banfield to a boxing match for information, and one blow to Paddy's head and he went down dead. One step closer to that ritual completing. Or there's Herman Manstein, a sadistic Nazi sympathizer and smuggler who will come for bloody revenge if his operations are disrupted in any way. And if there's one thing I know about players in an RPG, they will always interfere with a villain's operations. But despite the fact that 2 of these gangsters are violence prone and likely to perish as they interact with the PCs, I've had some groups that have been very, very good at avoiding confrontation in combat. Because the adventure really does hinge on a second death, you GMs might have to be creative if your group is totally not trigger happy at all. But you have some tools here. Not only is Ebony Vale able to hire hitmen, he did with Yellow Funzy, but these gangsters really just don't like each other. So one time when I ran the adventure and I had players who were kind of backing off, wanting to talk more than fight, I created a situation where Herman Manstein, that rage-filled German smuggler, got angry because he thought Renzo Beretti had betrayed him because the PCs had cozied up to Renzo with some good role-playing to find out what he knew. So Herman Manstein grabbed some of his buddies and personally went after Renzo while the PCs were dining with him. And this put the PCs in the middle of a situation where they had to choose between Renzo and Manstein. One was going to go down, there was just too much gunfire for that not to happen, but the PCs got to help make the decision of what happened there. But generally I've discovered with an adventure filled with armed gangsters, well, the body count goes up without too much effort. With a second victim dead and the PCs elbow deep in the investigation, the Ebony Vale decides to speed things up before the players can ruin his plot. He contacts the remaining ritual participants, spinning lies about wishes, and summons them to the abandoned Gotham Cathedral, where he plans to kill the third and final ritual participant. The PCs will likely have made at least one ally in their investigation who to tip them off to this event, or if they're hot on the trail of Ebony Vale himself, he may even contact them and invite them to this event, hoping that their involvement will assist in the deaths of the men. Like a good villain, he'd prefer for other people to do his dirty work before he has to. And the Gotham Cathedral is where this adventure reaches its climax. Like all good villains, the Ebony Vale is well prepared. Inside the crumbling cathedral, an antique mirror, Vayne's original, is in place. Ominous organ music fills the air, played by one of Ebony Vale's sidekicks. And the Ebony Veil himself, in his long cloak and tin mask, dramatically appears, believing that he is moments away from summoning his demon Ishkarhul. He'll incite violence, hoping the PCs or mobsters will kill the third victim in front of him, but if that doesn't seem to be happening, he'll personally stab the nearest one with his rapier. And if that fails, he's had his friend, the organist, rig the cathedral's foundations with explosives, ready to collapse the floor into the flooded crypts below. There's a lot here for the PCs to manage in this final confrontation. But if they are smart and well prepared, they'll be able to prevent the third victim from being killed and that apocalyptic ritual from triggering. Because if they fail to prevent this death, well, now they have a big problem. The cathedral's rusted bells scream to life, the floor trembles, and a portal rips open in the air. From it, 3 tall, spectral beings descend, robed in alien geometries, glass hearts pumping silvery liquid. Their blurry faces bear uncanny resemblance to the 3 men whose blood was spilled for this ritual, and each has powers from the personality of those dead men. These are the bearers of the ever-shifting vault, the gatekeeper of time and space. Or if you're a Lovecraft fan like I am, I say they're related to Yog-Sothoth in some way, that evil elder god. And between the bearers floats a strange angular arc, a construct of impossible shapes. This isn't Ishkarhul, folks. This is true cosmic horror drawn to the corruption of Gotham City. In mere moments, the infernal arc will open, bursting forth cosmic energy that will lay waste to miles of Gotham City, turning citizens into glass. Your players will have to use all their cleverness to deal with Ebony Veil, who's shocked Ishkarhul hasn't shown up to grant him wishes. They'll have to navigate the collapsing cathedral and prevent the bearers from opening the arc and leveling Gotham. If the PCs didn't stop the ritual, this will be a tough fight, and the PCs might very well wish that Batman was there to help.
And why aren't I there? You said I'd be watching the players the whole time, from the shadows. Feels like I should be there.
Well, GMs, you can include Batman in the final fight if you want to, just don't take the spotlight from the PCs. Sometimes I have Batman show up and have him deal with the gangsters and their bodyguards while he yells for the PCs to stop the bearers. They are, of course, the supernatural experts, so that's a fair ask. But if they can stop the bearers and close the arc, they've saved Gotham. And that's the overview of Gotham 39, The Mirror Eternal. I think that's one of my most favorite adventures I've written and one that I really enjoy running with players. They seem to enjoy the blend of gritty noir, hard-boiled mystery, and pulp cosmic horror. I think it feels like Gotham City, but as always, if you've played or run in this adventure, give me some feedback below and let me know how it went. I love your war stories. Now, if you are a true Bat fan and want to stick around, there's some nice Easter eggs buried in this adventure. If you're interested, let's go join Saffron at the Gotham Clock Tower.
Saffron here with some Gotham 39 secrets. Now, while Batman himself doesn't officially make an appearance in this adventure, GMs can include the pre-generated character Mitchell Malone. This, of course, is actually Bruce Wayne using his second secret identity, Matches Malone. If you have the right player who can hide the fact that they're playing Batman for 4 hours, pretending to be just an ordinary, blackmailed investigator, this is a great twist for GMs to add. But whatever you do, do not give this character to someone who wants to just hog all the spotlight to themselves.
You can only trust the best player with the Batman.
In the abandoned warehouse where the ritual took place, players can find not only a bomb, but also a receipt to the bomb-making equipment. The timers were all bought from a shop owned by William Tuchman, aka the Clock King, a villain from both Batman's Rogue Gallery and Green Arrow's. One of the pre-generated characters is Luigi Zatara, an old stage magician who maybe has real magical powers. He even carries a wand he's nicknamed Arataz. This, of course, is the grandfather of Zatanna Zatara, the well-known magician and real magic user from the comics, who speaks her spells backwards. Another pre-generated character is Val Caliban, a criminal who was recently incarcerated and hates Batman for it. Caliban is actually one of the forgotten Batman villains from the 1970s, the Spook, an escape artist who can vanish just like a ghost. Another playable character is Raya Vestry, who has a secret. She used to once perform in Haley's Circus. This was the circus where the Flying Graysons, Dick Grayson or Robin's family, also performed. Herman Manstein's smuggling boat is called the Penny Plunderer, named after a Golden Age Batman villain who's responsible for that strange giant coin in the Batcave.
I love that coin. I just tell everybody that I confiscated it from Two-Face, since I'm too embarrassed to admit the Penny Plunderer almost killed me with it.
He used rolls of pennies as weapons, and hysterically was also crushed under that giant coin. You know, if you want to extend this adventure, I suggest you add the Penny Plunderer as a side villain the PCs can face off with at the boat, alongside Herman Manstein. Maybe he's counting all of Manstein's money on that boat. All of the mobsters come from somewhere in Batman lore, including the Casamentos, Berettis, and Green Street Boys. The Crooked Police Commissioner is Commissioner Loeb, pulled from Batman Year One and named after the Batman comic writer, since Commissioner Gordon wasn't yet in that position. And that's all the Bat Easter eggs in this adventure. Logging off now to keep watch over the city.
Thanks, Saffron. Writing this adventure was really fun, and I hope to run it again at convention soon, so come join me if you can. Or if you're just a fan of noir, Batman, or pulpy action, I encourage you to check this adventure out. You can download it for free at oneshotadventures.com. Until next time, I'm JC, and just remember, sometimes the most dangerous illusions are the ones you create yourself.
I have to admit, that was pretty good.